I got you.
Hi, and welcome back to another video. This one, if you haven't already guessed, is all about me getting really freaking scared on my annual trip to the new River Gorge. Now, if you've ever been to the new, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The bolting there is spicy, to say the least.
Really scary.
But I love that. I love the new. I know, I'm weird. Anyway, in this video, you're gonna see me get on some seriously run out 12A slab, as well as a super sandbagged 11D with a very airy crux at the top. And just for reference, 11D is a grade that I somewhat regularly on-site, but I basically pooped in my pants on this climb. Yeah. You'll also see me working on my 12C project, a climb called Green Envy. More about that in my most recent video, if you're interested. I'll put the link up on the screen now. But you definitely don't need to have watched that video to enjoy watching me get absolutely terrified in this one. And if you do enjoy it, maybe subscribe? There's another one coming, in which I get back on that 12C project and try really freaking hard, among other things. But for now, let's put my head game to the test. 4 climbing days deep now. I sent something yesterday, finally. This is the first thing sent on the street.
Blue points, motherfucker!
I don't feel in great sport shape still. Tomorrow we are going back to this super sick, pretty scary 12A slab. It's very spicy, not in like a scary because it's slab way, but in a scary because it's actually really fucking run out way. And then the day after that, going back to the old 12C proj. Still feels hard, but definitely easier than it felt 2 years ago. It's just a question really of whether I can obtain enough fitness in the time that we have to be able to string it all together or not. But I'm gonna try. Ready?
Yep.
So this route has, I think, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 bolts, but it's like 80 feet, and the last like 30 feet has only 1 bolt. But New River Gorge apparently is sport climbing where you add gear as you see fit, and the internet says you can get a 0.3 in a slot, and somebody said that they like fiddled in a small stopper at another slot. So
This one I have checked and this one does actually work. This one, TBD. Maybe I won't use either of them.
editing Haley here, coming in to just say that I borrowed this gear. The cam belongs to the friend that we're staying with, and the nuts are literally from randoms at the crag. And the last time I placed trad gear was a good 2 years ago. But I'm gonna take them up with me, and if I poop in my pants a little bit, I'm gonna place them. Sports climbing. So while you watch me get started on this route, let me just tell you about my first time up it. It was a few days prior to this, and I was going for the flash. Now, the crux is at the 3rd bolt, and I was quite preoccupied with the crux, and consequently fell on the start bit, something like 7 times, like before the 1st bolt. But then I pulled on, climbed to the crux, fell once, pulled back on, did the crux, and went to the top. As in, once I figured out the very opening sequence, I one-hung the route. You might be wondering why I didn't just get back on it and do it. Well, the boys wanted to go to a different crag, so we went. And that's why I'm hanging drawers this go too. Okay, so here is where the spice begins. You have to rock over onto this quite slippery foot that's right beside the bolt, and it feels kind of like your foot's gonna get tangled in the rope if it slips. Plus, there's quite a distance between bolt 1 and bolt 2. You're probably not gonna deck unless you fall all the way up staring at the second bolt. But it's not a fall that I would like to take. It would have to be a super hard catch, which is dangerous in itself.
I'm gonna go in the dry.
And now I've arrived at the crux, or at the very, very good rest before it.
Huh?
I'm gonna take you off.
So after taking off my shoes and resting my feet, a very legitimate tactic in slab climbing, okay, even if it does make my belayers a bit grumpy, I proceeded to tackle the crux.
Alright? Yeah. Yeah, got tangled up in this wall. I just fucking tired.
This foot switch is one of the harder moves. It's pretty blind and you're standing on a little tiny slopey edge thingy, and the left hand that I'm holding on the arete there is kind of nothing. And the right hand move that I just did was to a shallow mono divot type hold. So the right foot is a blind placement, the left hand's on basically nothing, and your right hand's in a shallow slippery mono. Super insecure. This move is definitely the hardest move on the route, or at least in my opinion. This foot switch is also balancy and insecure, and it feels like if you biff it, you're gonna barn door and then fall ass first onto the slab below. So I was certainly glad to not do that. But the spiciest part of this route, by a long shot, was yet to come.
I love the new. Did someone take like a whip when I was in the crux? Did I hear that?
A little bit.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
gear whip.
After getting the scoop on the whipping sounds from earlier, it was time to get on with the second half of the route. I am past the crux, so I've done the hardest moves, but the rest of the climb is not easy, and some of the falls could be pretty consequential, hence taking up that gear with me. And just to be clear, it's not that it's like run out and spicy but totally safe and fine. Rather, it's run out and spicy and probably not totally safe and fine. Without placing any gear, there are certainly multiple sections which I would consider to be no fall zones, where you're probably going to get hurt if you take a fall there. And as you can see, I decided to place the cam. I had the cam with me on my previous go up this route, so I did know that the cam would fit in that slot. But the next run out bit, the part where you can allegedly place a small nut, I had not tried to place any gear in. So I was going up prepared to do it without the gear if it didn't fit. And without the nut, that section is definitely the most run out and also probably has the worst fall. What I'm clipping just here is the last bolt on the route. As you can see, there is quite a distance between me and the chain still, and this camera angle, like from below, always makes these distances look much shorter too. But trust me, it's far. Here we have a mantle with yet another insecure foot switch, but this one is very well protected by that bolt. There is another mantle yet to come before you can clip the chains, and it's over a body length away from where I am right now. The hold that I'm holding right here is where you're supposed to be able to place the nut, but it's small and kind of slopey and you're standing on a slopey ledge, so just existing in this position is taxing. As in, I have a limited amount of time. I either need to place this nut and go, decide to give up on placing it and go, or down climb, or just take the fall from here, which would be fine. But luckily for me,
Yeah.
I got a good nut in after trying 2 different sizes and lots of different orientations in this small slot hold. Here's the mantle I was talking about, and you can see how you really wouldn't want to fall here without having that nut in. You just go slamming into the slab.
Nice.
But yeah, I placed the nut, I didn't fall, and I sent the climb.
Go.
What a climb.
Yeah. Nice.
That was so fun. Like, scary in a fun way, not scary in a, like, I feel nauseous and I don't want to do this way. It was so sick. Just like, oh, I did it. I love the new. And I love slab. Does it get any better than this? Stop number 2 on another double crag day. We are going there. So after Team Machine, we headed to first buttress so I could get back on magnitude.
Alright, I got a knot, you locked?
It's an 11D with a crux at the very top that's super airy. It's definitely safe, but it feels really spicy. I got way more scared on this thing than I got on Team Machine. You'll see. And the climbing up until the crux is classic New River Gorge mid 5'11" face climbing, I'd say. So I'm just skipping to the crux, where all of the action happened anyway.
See one thing?
Yeah.
Am I safe?
Yeah.
I'm really scared right now.
I got you.
Now, important context for the end of this route. The one other time that I'd been on it, it was pitch black by the time I got here.
I'm just saying I can't really see where you are in relation to the bolt, and I can't see your fall. Like it's a mid belay.
So I stick clipped the chains and pulled through in the dark. Consequently, on this go, where I was hanging the drawers and not necessarily expecting to stick the crux move, I was left to figure it out on the fly while insanely pumped.
Watch me!
Gotcha.
Woo! Ah! Ah!
Yeah. Figured. Is there a bolt somewhere?
What?
Good job.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Yep.
The climbing after the stance turned out to be totally fine, so long as you can mentally collect yourself at the stance, that is. It is super run out, but it's easy and the fall is clean.
Oh my god! Did somebody put a wild animal on the route? That just came out of me. God, I love the new.
So yeah, I got really, really freaking scared, and I sinned. I think I yelled a little bit, just a skosh. Probably nobody even noticed. Maybe it was all in my head. Who knows?
Later that day.
Somebody dropped their hoodie off the slab earlier today, and it landed in a tree, and then it was forgotten. So we are now on an 8/18 hoodie tree rescue expedition.
It's only a 3-minute approach.
Thanks. There it is. I think. Oh. Some kind folk have perhaps retrieved it. It was in that tree. Oh, I
Got
can't.
it.
The headlamp. Yeah, that's better.
I got it.
Nice. Success. With a few proud sends now in the bag, it was time for session 2 on the Proj. The climb is a 12C called Green Envy, and this was my first go up it this day, using new beta from my previous session for the first time.
Oh, okay. That was uncomfortable.
The move that I just fell on there is the crux, and that was actually a pretty damn good go. It was feeling surprisingly better than it did in session 1.
Ah!
Hell yeah.
Ah!
I mean, definitely not easy, but maybe doable? What you just saw was me climbing into the crux for the very first time ever.
Yeah. I climbed into it. Do you mind if I try and go to chances? Yeah, go for it.
I first started working this route 2 years ago, but I could never link the climbing right before the crux into that super spanny crux move. So that's major progress. Back then, I one-hung the route a bunch of times. I could do it pretty reliably, but the hang was always specifically divided into climbing to the crux move, then pulling on, doing the crux move, and going to the top. So here I'm going for a one hang in overlapping sections for the first time.
I lost my keys in Seattle, and I was like, hella fucked.
I could feel when I went up, but I just didn't have the power.
I was like, why were the
And yeah, I just didn't quite have the power to stick that move, which is definitely the red point crux. But it is the last hard move, so it felt pretty close.
Yeah, perfect.
Pretty close to an overlapping one hang, that is.
It didn't even look that powerful. That actually looks pretty simple.
Which is most definitely not ascend. But progress is progress, and I was feeling pretty stoked about this.
Push me down to the ground. To the ground!
I went up the route one more time in the session and just really rehearsed my new beta through the crux. And then of course, refueled. And spent the next day refueling some more, and also going for a walk, of course. And the following day, with everything fresh in my head, I went back to start giving send goes. As for how that went, it's going to be in the next video. At this point on the trip, I've sent an 11D, a 12A, and a 12B. Can I link a 12C on top of that? Given that my hardest red point ever is only 12D. Well, only one way to find out. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you didn't already, so you'll see when that video drops. And as always, thanks for watching. See you soon.